Welcome to Know Your Money. I'm your host, Bronwyn Wayner. With me is Craig Finch, my business partner from Growth Financial Planning. Joining us today and every day is our sound engineer, Warren Grimsley. In our podcast, we will explore our relationship with money and how the psychology of it impacts our financial decisions, as everyone thinks about money differently. We will be presenting a variety of financial topics in an easy-to-understand way, which we hope will assist you in managing your money. Welcome to Know Your Money. Today's episode is what elements of investing can you control? Craig, Warren, how are you today?
Very well, Bronwyn. How are you, Craig?
Good, thanks, Warren. Good to see you. And Bron, nice to see you again.
You guys too.
Thank you.
So let's get into this. Craig, what elements of investing can you control, do you think?
Well, I can tell you what you can't control is the market, what's happening politically in any country, what happens with climate change, what disasters in the world could happen. You can't control that, but you can control yourself.
100% right. A on your assignment.
And also what I mean by that is that people panic when the market, for example, the stock market, you hear, oh, the all-share index went down by 4% today and everybody's panicking. And the press love the panic. They love to put fear into your house. And if you know, I've got a long-term investment horizon, this is for example, retirement. Doesn't matter what the market's doing today because it's going to have its ups and downs. I must just make sure that I continue with my investment all the way until my future goal of when I invest because I have no control over what could happen in the world.
Yeah, and exactly that. So the thing is that you have control of is yourself and your goal setting. So if you are not setting the correct goals, you are going to stress about the return of your investment. Because if you need to use your holiday money that you've been saving now for an emergency, it's going to freak you out because you haven't set the right goals and you haven't done what you've needed and put your investments in the right time horizon kind of investments. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Obviously, again, if we just go back to what Craig said, what can you control? And it is only you. There's nothing else externally which I can change.
Yeah.
I suppose it comes back a lot to discipline.
How much are you saving?
Yeah,
you know?
How much am I saving? Am I aware that I should probably be investing money at some point? These are things I control. What happens with the investment, as far as a day-to-day, like Craig says, is up to the markets, really, or your financial, your institution you've put it with, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, ultimately, I do agree with Craig. And I think it's a very good point that you need to take ownership of what you're doing.
Exactly.
It's very difficult to avoid the noise, though.
Yeah.
There's noise all over the place. You go to a dinner party, you go to the shops, you speak to your friends. You listen to the news, you read the papers. There's always noise. Look at this happen. Look at what happened.
Invest in property. Where's your bitcoins?
Exactly.
Confuses people.
Confuses, yeah, exactly. But if you stick to your plan, doesn't matter what's happening around or what noise you're hearing, that's the most important thing you have to do.
Yeah.
And when it comes to a plan, obviously financially you have financial planners, but as far as personal goals, is that where we're talking about? So, I want to be able to retire by the age of 55. So how do I do that now? Exactly.
And that's the biggest thing is when we're talking about this, what can you control? Yourself and just putting the right amount of goals down there. I don't know if I've spoken about this in one of the previous episodes, but I had an emergency fund, okay? Because that's what everybody says, even financial planners tell you, go and have an emergency fund. But the thing with just having an emergency fund is that it didn't have an actual plan to it. So emergencies kept popping up. Oh, I need an emergency. I have to pay for this university, or the kids need this. I wasn't specific enough with that money. So I think your plan has to be so detailed in order for your money to work. So you need a holiday fund. You need a buy my kid a car fund. You need a retirement fund. You need extramurals fund. You need, if you pay your subscriptions up in it once a year, you need to fund that. If you go on away for your anniversary, on average it costs this much. So start a fund, plan all of those things, and then from there, you'll know, okay, this is short term, that needs to go in this kind of investment. That's more longer term, where does that go? And if you have your short term money in the right sort of emergency funds, but broken down, and the other money to grow, you're not going to listen to that noise because you're not freaking out to get that little bit of money that you need for the short term things versus the long term.
Exactly.
I think, sorry to cut in there, I mean, one thing that often pops up for me is having a reasonable expectation of economic growth for yourself. And the noise comes in when you hear, oh, Bitcoin's price has gone up 200% or 20% overnight. So that grabs your attention, doesn't it? But if you don't know what you're doing and you're not keeping to your original goals, it's not going to go well. More often than not, it's not going to go well.
No, exactly, and the markets will, or the journalists will say, and the market came down 4 points today. And what does that mean to anybody? It means it's nothing. So that's important. It doesn't matter what's happening behind the scenes. You've got your plan, as Bronwyn said. You've got your plan. You've got your future goals, your present goals. You're putting money away in the right places. Doesn't matter what happens in the long term. You've got a financial planner that's helping you, guide you through all this noise. And that's the most important thing, is you stick to the plan and not to panic when there is panic out there.
And like you say, just to not even listen to the noise. If you have somebody you trust who is, looking after your investments and you're overseeing it, obviously, and you trust them, then let them do their job.
Exactly. And the biggest thing is when you're controlling yourself, the only thing you can control is how much of your salary or how much of you do you earn are you saving. The amount that you're saving is what makes you wealthy, makes you rich. So how much you save is what you control.
And how you react.
Yes.
Because if you hear there's a global recession coming, you are well within your rights to take all your money out of your fund. But your financial advisor would say no.
Exactly. And
see, if you had the right plans, you wouldn't need to take it out the funds because you've planned for all those different things already.
I mean, the journalists love to say we're going to have a world meltdown on the markets and we're going to go into a recession. There's some analysts that sit and they've got certain points on a graph to say if it goes below that level, it's a recession. But many people don't even know what's happening. They're still working, they're still making money, they're still enjoying their lives. The recession means nothing. But to some people it does mean a lot. So,
I mean, for me, during the crash of the housing market, 2008, 2009, I didn't notice any difference.
Because you weren't in property, you weren't worried
and
about that.
My industry was isolated from that, I was doing concerts. People still were coming to concerts.
Yeah.
It didn't change that.
Correct.
Those who could afford to came.
Yeah.
But if you listen to the news and you said, there's a big problem, I better react, I better stop my debit orders or cash my money out, that's a problem.
So I think basically the take homes for this is the one thing you can control is yourself and how much you are saving, and that's about it.
Yeah, you can't control the markets.
And don't try to.
Yes.
Exactly.
Thanks, guys.
All right,
have a good one.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe or visit our website, www.growthfp.co.za. The information we have provided in this podcast is our personal opinion. For more detailed information, please discuss your financial situation with a financial planner.